Hello, and welcome to the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter, and I've been your beat reporter covering the Jacksonville Jaguars for On SI every single day since August 2019, and we are continuing to march forward through another offseason together. As always, you can find our 100% free 24/7 boots on the ground Jacksonville Jaguars coverage every single day on social media, such as Facebook and Twitter, at Jaguars on SI, and you can also find us at www.si.com/NFL/Jaguars. Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. Today, we are talking about none other than Colorado Buffalo's Heisman Trophy winner and star Travis Hunter and what his role could look like with the Jacksonville Jaguars now moving forward. The Jaguars, of course, sent a giant package to land Hunter. They effectively, ended up trading up both from number 5 to number 2, but also in the 4th round and 6th round, I believe, while also giving up a first-round pick next year and the number 36 overall pick this season. Making any move like that for a non-quarterback is always going to raise some eyebrows. It's always going to make a lot of attention. It's always going to be fireworks. The Jaguars made the biggest move of the draft easily. Now, it's hard to really fault them, in my opinion, for doing so when you see a team like the Atlanta Falcons give up very similar value for a middling pass rushing prospect at 26th overall, but nonetheless, I have been, I guess, a little surprised by the amount of people who are saying they wouldn't make the trade. Now, to an extent, most trade downs are looked poorly upon. The people who crunch the numbers, who do the exact values, the trade charts, all that, you very rarely see a trade up, especially in the top 5, top 10, in this case, the top 2. That is, met with acclaim. With that said, I'm surprised as many people have had negative feelings about this trade. I believe NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah said he's talked to 15 and 20 people in the NFL, and universal consensus is that the Browns, won the trade, etc. It's hard for me to make a proclamation like that until you see what the Browns turn the picks to. I mean, 2 of the picks the Browns had, they turned into running backs. Using the number 36 pick on a running back after they had just taken an off-ball linebacker at number 33 didn't make a lot of sense to me. But nonetheless, that is where things stand today. Travis Hunter is a Jaguar. The Jags made a bold, albeit, maybe unpopular move to go get him. And now the question is, what does Travis Hunter's role look like with the Jaguars moving forward? Now, I can earnestly say, the entire draft process, especially since about, I'd say, right after free agency, that's when it started to get out how the Jaguars view Travis Hunter in terms of, how they would deploy him, his unique skill set, etc. Obviously, Liam Cohen going on record with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane, with Action Sports Jacks down at the owners' meetings, really showed us that. You saw Cohen kind of describe exactly, the kind of buy-in it would take for a guy like that, and that his plan, if he got him, would be to use him on both sides of the ball. But what he didn't say is which side of the ball and the exact kind of splits. Now, he definitely, it seemed to indicate offense. But we now know that is what the Jaguars see for Travis Hunter. He's going to play some defense. That's without a question. But I'd say for about the last 6 weeks, maybe call it 5 of the draft process, when you talk to people around the Jaguars, hey, how does the franchise view Travis Hunter? Wide receiver is what came up first. And to an extent, I understand that. They have said that his more natural position is on defense in terms of that's where he spent the most practice time. That's where he's probably most developed right now. So he's going to have to develop more at wide receiver. That's why I think he's going to be playing receiver more, especially early on in his career. More practice reps at receiver. But make no mistake about it. I think it's kind of being overlooked what he could add to their defense. Just, with his natural cover skills, his instincts, his ball skills. He's not afraid to tackle. He can force turnovers. There are a lot of things that Travis Hunter can do. So I think the big thing with Hunter, obviously, see more snaps on offense early on, have a design role there. Obviously, a ton of ways they can manufacture getting the ball into his hands, whether that's in the screen game, whether that's direct touches. Probably his best trait right now is what he does, frankly, after the catch. Outside of his ball skills, I'd say those are his top two traits, if you're just looking at him as a wide receiver prospect. Rare, elite stop and go ability, elite change of direction, elite instincts as a ball carrier, bounces off of contact. So if I had to guess right now, I'd say 70% offensive snaps, maybe 30 defense. The people saying, oh, he's not going to play both ways every snap of the game in the NFL like he did in college. It's the most obvious statement of all time. No, I don't know where anybody has gotten that impression. How many players play every snap of offense alone in the NFL? I don't think anybody is saying Travis Hunter is going to play every snap of a game, offense and defense in the NFL. And if you think that they're saying that, please direct me to where they're saying it, because I'd love to see it. I think that'd be fascinating. So I expect most of the snaps to come on offense, sprinkled in on defense, certain packages, certain situations, third and long, obvious passing situations, red zone, stuff like that. Either way, the Jaguars got the best talent in the draft, and how they deploy him throughout the entire 2025 season is now one of the biggest storylines in all of the NFL to follow.